this session hall. You know, over the last couple of days, I don't know how to welcome and greet everybody, because I cannot say good morning or can say good afternoon or good evening. And I cannot, and that's true, because every day, for some people, this day is not good. For some people, this day is the last one. I speak today now about my citizens of Ukraine who are defending, by paying the ultimate price, they defending freedom. I'm very happy that what I've seen here now and heard here now, I'm very glad to sense this mood, the unifying mood. I'm happy that we have unified today, all of you, all the countries of the European Union. But I did not know, but this is the price that we'll have to pay. And it's a tragedy for me, a tragedy for every Ukrainian, tragedy for our state. I mean, this high price, very high price. Thousands of people who were killed. 2 revolutions, 1 war, and 5 days of full-scale invasion of the Russian Federation. You know, I don't read off the paper, off the sheet, because the paper phase in the life of my country has ended. Now we're dealing with reality. We're dealing with killed people, real life, you know? And you know, I believe that we, today, we're giving lives for values, for rights, for freedom, for the desire to be equal as much as you are. We are giving away our best people, the strongest ones, the most value-based ones. Ukrainians are incredible. And very often we love to say that we will win over everyone. And I'm very happy that you are not only talking about it, but you can see that. And we will overcome everyone. And I'm sure, I'm convinced, there is an expression, Ukrainian choice, European choice of Ukraine. That's what we're striving for, and that's what we're going to, and we went to. So I would like to hear that from you to us, we could hear the Ukrainian choice for Europe from you. I have some time off here because we have breaks between the missile strikes and bombardments. And this morning was a very tragic one for us. 2 cruise missiles hit Kharkiv, the city which is located to the borders of the Russian Federation. There were always many Russians there, and they're always friendly. There were warm relations there. More than 20 universities are there. It's the city that has the largest number of universities in our country. The youth is bright, smart there. The people who gathered there all the time and was gathering there all the time for celebrating all celebrations. And the largest square in our country, the Freedom Square, and this is the largest square in Europe, and that's true. This is called the Freedom Square. Can you imagine this morning 2 cruise missiles hit this Freedom Square, dozens of killed ones. This is the price of freedom. We are fighting just for our land and for our freedom. Despite the fact that all large cities of our country are now blocked, Nobody is going to enter and intervene with our freedom and country. And believe you me, every square up to date, no matter what it's called, it's going to be called, as today, Freedom Square in every city of our country. Nobody's going to break us. We're strong. We're Ukrainians. We have a desire to see our children alive. I think it's a fair one. Yesterday, 16 children were killed. Again and again, President Putin is going to say that is some kind of operation and we are hitting a military infrastructure. Where are our children? What kind of military factories do they work at? What tanks are they going with? Or launching cruise missiles? He killed 16 people just yesterday. Dear, our people are very much motivated, very much so. We are fighting for our rights, for our freedoms, for life, for our life. And now we're fighting for survival. And this is the highest of our motivation. But we are fighting also to be equal members of Europe. I believe that today we are showing everybody that's exactly what we are. The European Union is going to be much stronger with us, that's for sure. Without you, Ukraine is going to be lonely, lonesome. We have proven our strength. We have proven that as at a minimum, we are exactly the same as you are. So do prove that you are with us. Do prove that you will not let us go. Do prove that you indeed are Europeans. And then life will win over death, and light will win over darkness. Glory be to Ukraine.
What a moment that was. Vladimir Zelensky raising his fist, speaking to the European Parliament, thanking them for their unity, but talking about the sacrifice of the Ukrainian people. The missile attack on Kharkiv up here that he says has killed dozens of Ukrainian civilians in Freedom Square in Kharkiv. He said every square in Ukraine right now should be called Freedom Square. I'm joined now by CNN's chief international anchor, Christiane Amanpour. Christiane, it almost sounded like the translator was choking up because there was so much emotion there.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. You know, he said, I can't even say good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you all, because it is not good for anybody in Ukraine. Although we're fighting hard, every day brings more deaths. And again, he raised this unbelievable global specter. This is not just a fight, he says, for Ukraine or by brave Ukrainians, but it is for the entire world, particularly the free world, and particularly for Europe. And he used this address here at the European Parliament, actually obviously in Brussels, to ask for immediate accession to the EU. Now, it's unlikely that he will get that, but this was a point that he absolutely made. And let me say, I spoke to the French finance minister today, and they have been working along with the United States, along with the rest of the entire EU, all the different countries, to impose these unprecedented sanctions. And to me, he said, this is Bruno Le Maire, that our goal is to wage war on Russia's economic and financial institution and to collapse the Russian economy. And he said, yes, the Russian people will bear the price, but that is what we have to do to make Putin stop. And this is what they're doing right now, and we have seen so much change in Europe almost overnight in the few days since Russia did invade Ukraine. And again, Zelensky today saying that we have suffered 2 revolutions, we've suffered a war, and now 5 and now 6 days of a massive Russian invasion. And as you know, because US intelligence has been reporting this, as he speaks, satellite imagery shows some 40 miles, maybe it's even more now, of armored Russian columns, tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and the like. And we know that the civilian population in Kharkiv, close to the Russian border, has been pounded. The French, the Europeans are really concerned that this is going to amount to just escalating war crimes, i.e. slaughter of civilians in this war right now. Back to you, John.
Christian, there was something of a metaphor in all this. You saw the bearded Ukrainian leader in a T-shirt in the midst of a war speaking to the people in dress suits in the European Parliament. And yes, there has been remarkable European unity. And yes, they have taken economic actions. But when you see that juxtaposition, it makes you wonder, is it enough? Can it be enough to save that bearded man from the Russian onslaught?
You know, he's in his presidential palace, and he's not wearing just any T-shirt. He's wearing military outfits, so to speak. The T-shirt in the green of the military. He's letting, obviously, for presumably necessary reasons, his beard to grow. He's one of the people. This is more than symbolic. This is, you know, a man who nobody thought would have to face this, you know, rising to the occasion and showing that he will not leave his people at the most dire moment in European history since the end of World War II. I mean, we haven't seen this kind of thing in Europe since the 1940s. It is extraordinary what's happening. And as this brave president does that in an encircled and perhaps soon to be besieged capital city, you have the Russian foreign minister talking to the UN in the safety of his, you know, foreign ministry in Moscow, and lying again about who Zelensky is, calling him a neo-Nazi, calling the regime there a bunch of drug addicts and neo-fascists, saying that we had to do this. Why? Because the people of Donbass, the Russian separatists, he said, were somehow not being allowed to speak Russian. Seriously? That is the level of the disconnect of what's going on right now. That they are trying to say in Moscow that it is the people and the government of Ukraine that has brought this on themselves, and they are telling complete and utter fabrications of history, full of grievance, but they are laying out a rationale right now for why they will and they aim to take down Zelensky. And another very frightening thing, yesterday, as you know, President Macron of France spoke to President Putin, and he also spoke to President Zelensky. This was ahead of these so-called talks that took place on the Belarusian border, with the sword of Damocles over these negotiators, with a nuclear threat over these negotiators, on the border of a country that has now become a vassal and potentially soon to be a nuclear-armed vassal of Russia, i.e. Belarus, after the weekend referendum. Anyway, the important thing is that Macron demanded, pleaded, asked, tried to cajole Putin into an immediate ceasefire and to get him to stop targeting civilian infrastructure and ordinary people. And Putin said yes, 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 not to the ceasefire, but to the targeting request. And of course, he has not done that. Is that a surprise? No. But worse, Putin is not changing or bending. He has told Macron, as far as we can gather from sources very close, that he demands that his demands are met, that he demands that the entire European security order is rewritten according to the letter that he sent to the United States and NATO in December, that he demands that the annexation of Crimea is recognized, that he demands that it be recognized. So he is not bending, and this is very frightening, because most military analysts believe that yes, he's had these setbacks over the last 6 days, and they are remarkable to consider this country has been able to stand up and keep them back for a moment, but that he will up the ante, and that he is unafraid of bombarding and killing civilians. Remember Grozny, remember Aleppo. This is Putin and his war machine. Civilians all the way. That's how they do it. That's how they try to win. And it is something that is going to be very difficult for the world to tolerate.
And that is what Vladimir Zelensky is standing up in the face of, speaking to the European